as day one of training camp is officially over. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Trizzy Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning in to a vacation in a remote version of Saints Now by Chat Sports. I'm on family vacation in Gulf Shores, Alabama. We gave you the Tyrann Mathieu updates yesterday, so today we're going to go through the latest around the roster, anything we haven't discussed, and news, notes, and updates from training camp. Big shout-outs to guys like Ross Jackson, Nick Underhill, Catherine Terrell, Mike Triplett, and all the other great Saints beat reporters out there. I'm not out there right now, but I can promise you this. Whenever I get back into the studio, we are going to be providing nothing but the best for us Saints fans. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, lock us in for daily content. We'll also be going live throughout the preseason and every single game of the regular season. So I hope to see you guys tuned in. Make sure you subscribe for updates, news, and information around training camp and what's become a very pivotal offseason and a offseason that has had a lot of change. So let's start off first by the roster updates. The latest around the New Orleans Saints, obviously, Tyrann Mathieu. He retired after a 12-year NFL career. Yesterday, we provided a full breakdown. I gave you my full reaction, a very sentimental, very heartfelt video. So if you haven't already, go check that one out. But long story short, Tyrann Mathieu, he is hanging him up after 12 years. But good news is the Saints got active last night. Mickey Loomis saying that New Orleans was going to look for replacements for Tyrann Mathieu, and they found one in Julian Blackmon, a 26-year-old defensive back. He's had some injury history over the past few years in his career, but I will tell you this, he is a very effective player, and I think that he could fit really well in Brandon Staley's scheme. We also saw Jimmy Graham make his retirement official. That's not anything that's like unexpected or anything. If you remember, he just completed the Arctic Challenge, rowing across the Arctic Ocean and whatnot with his team. I mean, it was like 24 hours nonstop. He is no longer playing football. He is now off doing every single side quest ever of now rowing across the ocean and being a pilot and all that crazy stuff. So shout out to Jimmy Graham and Tyrann Mathieu for being able to hang it up. But actually, they're not the only ones. Tight end Dallin Holker, he was an undrafted free agent out of Colorado State. He retired on Instagram yesterday. So he'd been dealing with a little bit of an injury. He got very minimal playing time in his rookie season. But for, the tight end room, it just got a little bit thinner, and Maliki Mataval, your stock just went up a little bit. Same with Jack Stoll, because a guy like Dallin Holker is no longer in the mix for the roster. Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau, they were both placed on the PUP list, otherwise known as the physically unable to perform list. There's no timeline on a return for Taysom Hill, but Mickey Loomis reporting that everything is positive around Taysom Hill. Jonathan Bullard, he was also a defensive end that the Saints signed. He played with Brandon Staley in Chicago at the beginning portion of his career. So I think this is a good body to help install that new Brandon Staley defense alongside Bo Davis. And you have Cameron Jordan, Chase Young, Carl Granderson, Isaiah Foskey. You got some really interesting players out there. You also have Chris Rumpf in the mix as well. And so in terms of the roster updates, that's pretty much everything that you need to know. Of course, if there are any other updates, we're going to be providing you guys a video. We're going to be letting you all know. And I will just go ahead and say this before we dive into the news and notes, the updates on the training camps, the quarterback battle and everything. I just want to give you a little heads up. Tomorrow, I'm driving back to Texas, all one haul, so I will not be able to film a video. If there's anything absolutely dire, I'm going to make sure Loco Lopez gets you the information you need, because that's the promise we have here at Saints Now by Chat Sports, to provide the best content by Saints fans for Saints fans. Now let's get into what Saints fans want to know. The attendance at training camp for day one was excellent. Only one person missing, and that was tight end Foster Moreau, who, like we just said, was put on the PUP list. Taysom Hill, he was out there. He was present. He was on the sidelines. He still has a long way to go in terms of being able to return to action and being able to practice, but I do think that it's nice to see him out there. It's nice to see that he's present and that he's, getting involved and getting time with this new coaching staff and in this new offense. Nick Underhill reporting that there wasn't a ton of action in day one of training camp. Spencer Rattler, he did get the starting reps today. He looked sharp. Olave had a nice catch. We did see some design QB runs, which I do think is going to be a big portion and an underrated portion, I should say, of Kellen Moore's offense. Both Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler have underrated athleticism. And they both have skills in terms of using their legs that I think are very, very slept on. So I do like to see Kellen Moore, getting some design QB runs installed early on. In terms of Spencer Rattler, like we said, he did take the QB1 snaps today. He had a good sense of timing. He looked decisive. He looked confident. And you should expect a rotation between Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler until Kellen Moore makes a decision for who he wants to be the QB1. Now, we already do know that Tyler Shough will be getting the QB1 reps tomorrow. So in terms of the QB battle, Kellen Moore is saying that between Shough and Rattler, it's very even going into camp, and the numbers are pretty close. The, observations of them are very close. So Kellen Moore wants to not rush. I want to make that very clear. He doesn't want to rush. He doesn't want to force the decision, but he wants to make that decision in a timely manner because it is impactful in a very, very positive way. If you can establish the guy who's the QB1 and establish the guy who's the QB2 early, I do expect man, it's kind of hard to say because I go back and forth. I expect actually Spencer Rattler to be named QB1 early. And then Tyler Shough eventually will be taking over at the quarterback position. That's just my expectation. That's what I think will happen. Do I know anything special? No. But I'm just giving you my take. I'm giving you what I think could happen. Now, in terms of Spencer Rattler, I do think for him, in order to solidify and lock down the QB1 position, he needs to show good decision-making. He needs to show confidence. He needs to show the ability to lead and manage the huddle, run the offense at a high level for Kellen Moore. Can he understand and comprehend the offense that Kellen Moore is trying to install? And if he can't, then Tyler Shough, if he can do that, immediately becomes the QB1 in my opinion. Now, in terms of what will happen there, I'm not totally sure. Like I said, I think it'll be Spencer Rattler will be QB1 for the first few weeks, and then we'll see Tyler Shough get into the mix 4, 5, 6 weeks in, probably 5 or 6 after that Buffalo Bills game. So who knows? But, training camp as a whole, I think that this is a really, really unique opportunity, especially on the defensive side of the football. We haven't really talked about it much. We mentioned it briefly yesterday. With Tyrann Mathieu retiring, the defensive back group is just now immediately completely different. And I think that calling this offseason a rebuild is very, very fair. I see people trying to argue it's not a rebuild, it's a retooling. It's okay. Let's stop trying to be creative. Let's stop trying to come up with new names for things that already exist. You have a first-time head coach, a rookie quarterback in the mix. You have an entirely different coaching staff. You have a whole different roster pretty much. You have 9 new rookie draft picks that are on the roster. People are retiring. People are leaving in free agency. You're trading away Marshawn Lattimore. You are in the midst of a rebuild, and I think that rebuild is going very well. Now, defensively, I have eyes on Jordan Howden and obviously Julian Blackmon, but I obviously have eyes on Jordan Howden and Jonas Sanker. Those are the 2 guys that I'm paying attention to the most. But I'm also going to keep my eyes monitored on Alontae Taylor. I want to see how Brandon Staley utilizes Alontae Taylor as that star role, if you will. I think he can be moved around all over the defense, kind of just as a defensive weapon, not as a cornerback or as a DB, but as a weapon. And with Tyrann Mathieu no longer being in the mix, I think that Alontae Taylor's role just got a little bit more unique. I also think Jonas Sanker, thank goodness we drafted him. I think he has a huge opportunity to potentially even start this year. I think Julian Blackmon and Justin Reed are the shoe-ins to be the starting defensive backs, but don't sleep on Jordan Howden either. I think that these are all young players that do have something to prove. I mean, Julian Blackmon's only 26 years old. I think that this is a really, really good approach to trying to alleviate what you're missing in Tyrann Mathieu. Now, in terms of what to expect moving forward from training camp, a lot of battles, hopefully no injuries. Let's see if Taysom Hill can get on the field. Let's see Kendre Miller stay healthy. Let's see Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave stay healthy. Let's see this team pick up the new coaching staff's plans and their schemes and instill them in a timely, organized, and I guess a timely and organized fashion, and make it a productive defense, make it a feared defense, make this a team that people in other teams are shocked that they're feared to play against, because that's where we were X amount of years ago. Now it's time to get back to it. And I think that training camp this year should be really, really exciting. Day one, not a lot of action, but we did get to see a little bit of 7-on-7, a little bit 11-on-11. It was nice to see both young quarterbacks get active. I'm excited about the position battles. I'm also excited about Quincy Riley as a cornerback, because Paulson Adebo obviously is no longer in the mix. Is he going to be the starter across Kool-Aid McKinstry, or is it going to be Isaac Yiadom? Also, the offensive line, are they going to continue to try and refine that, or is it pretty much set? I feel like it's pretty much set in stone, but the backups, that's where things can continue to shake up and be moved around. So a lot of really interesting things to happen, a lot of fun things going on in New Orleans right now. And for the Saints, some bad things and some sad things with Tyrann Mathieu retiring. But at the end of the day, I think we're headed in the right direction. I think you as a Saints fan should get excited. Now, Who Dat Nation, get in the comment section. Share your thoughts about Saints training camp. Are you excited? Who do you think will be the QB1? Who do you think is going to start week 1? I want to hear from you in the comments. Share your thoughts. Type Who Dat, and y'all stay golden. We will see you next time.